Hey guys, welcome back to Gotcha Interact. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new and upcoming character alongside of Sunday, which we already did talk about, Fugue. Now, that's just how I'm assuming it's going to be pronounced for now, because that's just what it looks like. So until we hear it in game, then we can talk about that later. But jumping right in and just kind of talking about her very early kit, and of course this is all subject to change, so don't take our word for it, take it with a grain of salt. But actually, Vixen, jumping right into her kit, what can you tell us about with her basic attack and skill?
So with her basic attack, immediately using it, you'll deal fire damage equal to 100% of Fugue or Fugue, whatever her name is, her attack, to one designated enemy. Now, using her skill, she'll enter a Torrid Scorch, which we'll talk about that in a second when we talk about her skill. That'll put you in a state where you can actually use the Fiery Caress, which is your other type of basic attack, that deals fire damage equal to 100% of her attack to one designated enemy, which is the same as her normal basic attack, but it also additionally deals fire damage equal to 50% of her attack to adjacent targets to the enemy you originally hit. So you can hit like 3 enemies at once instead of 1. Just some extra help for multiple hits on multiple targets. For possible more breaking and whatnot, it could be good. Looking at the skill, it states that it grants the Phoxian Prayer to one designated ally and causes this unit to enter the Torrid Scorch state, lasting for 3 turns. The duration of this state reduces by 1 at the start of each of Tingyun's or this new Tingyun's own turn. The ally's target with Phoxian Prayer has their break effect increased by 40%. Every time after they attack, she also has a 100% base chance to reduce the attacked enemy target's defense by 18%, which lasts for 2 turns. And while in the Torrid Scorch state, Fugue cannot use her skill and her basic attack Radiant Streak, and is then enhanced to Fiery Caress. So that is kind of the idea. While another character that you've given using your skill is going into the Torrid Scorch state, Fugue, Tingyun, whatever, is going to then have the ability to change her basic attack, even though she's not the unit that has it on herself.
Yeah, it definitely seems very cool. I really like the idea of enabling her basic attack to just simply hit more opponents. I think that's kind of the main idea, especially thinking about another break support type character. Being able to just hit more opponents, meaning you're breaking more just shield, whether she is breaking or not. That's just progress to getting to the break with just say another character like your Firefly or your Boot Hill or whatever. So I do like that, and the skill does seem very interesting. The thing about the effect hit rate for shredding defense on the enemy with having that 100% base chance, that did kind of bring to my mind thinking, okay, do we might need a little bit of effect hit rate? Like, I know people talk about needing like something like 140% or whatever that number is. I'm not like a theory crafter on this, but that could be something to bring up. I don't think that calls for like a main stat on the body, of course, because that's probably just overkill. And honestly, 100% as it is, with just maybe a subset or 2 is probably enough. And it is a nice little defense shred. So I don't know, just something to think about that kind of popped into my head. But looking at her ultimate, this is called Solar Splendor Shines Upon All. Basically, Fugue here is going to deal fire damage equal to 200% at highest level talent, being level 10, of Fugue's attack to all enemies. This instance of attack ignores weakness type to reduce the toughness of all enemies. When she does this, when she breaks, she will trigger the fire weakness break effect when enemies become weakness broken. So this seems really good just already because you're just breaking anything. It does not matter what you're up against. Her ultimate's just shredding. And when you do break, if it is happening to break, it's going to trigger the fire break effect. So that's just really cool. I think that's going to be helpful, not just for a character like Firefly. With Fugue being a fire character, it may seem typical that she's going to be probably the best support for Firefly out of the break DPSs. I don't think, she can't be used with, Boot Hill, Rappa, because, we don't see that in Linksha. We do see in Linksha that she is a little bit better for Firefly with the synergies just based on the relics and planner sets she wants to use, but that doesn't mean she can't be used with the other break DPSs, and I think it's the same case for this, if not even more versatile, just because you're getting an increased break effect in the skill. I don't know, it's just something to think about, but that does seem very good.
Going back into looking at the skill, so when you're talking about the 140%, so yeah, usually you want a combined of your base chance. You want to hit for bosses specifically, because I think most bosses have a 40% effect resistance obviously to effects. So usually the number to hit is 140%. But you don't have to get 140% effect hit rate. All you have to have is 40%, at least with this, because it has 100% base chance. If this had a 70% base chance, you would need 70% effect hit rate to make sure that it's always going to hit, especially on those bosses. But that's not really, necessarily, like you said, it's going to be very easy to hit probably. Effect hit rate, it can kind of come and go, especially on a lot of the pieces. You might just have like a substat or two on, a few pieces, and you've already got close to, 120, 125 or something like that. So 25 or 30 or something like that, and already have a good enough, way to hitting to 40% for the 140 combined. But also looking at the ultimate, I do think it's going to be very good. Like you said, even the characters like Rappa and Boot Hill are going to allow a little bit more flexibility in a little bit more of their teams. Even still, Linksha can still work really well with both Rappa and Boot Hill, just because even though they are, fire, even though she's a fire character, she still can either help them break characters that have a fire weakness. And here, when you're ignoring weakness type to reduce the toughness, you're now basically taking that to the nth extent, allowing you to break even easier with Fugue or whatever here. So I do think it's very good. But yes, let's go ahead and talk about the talent now. While she is on the field, the character is on the field, enemy targets will be afflicted or get afflicted with Exo Toughness, defaulting to an Exo Toughness value equal to 50% of their respective max toughness. Basically what that looks like is if you've done one of the endgame modes at this point in time, the enemies, after their regular weakness broken state, they will have like an extra like little blue bar above them. It doesn't go like completely black like it did before, and that's Exo Toughness. And then it basically allows you to break again, but it's 50% easier to break than a normal shield, so it's extremely easier to break it again. And the great thing about that is then you can break again, allowing yourself to do an even bigger number again, so that it just allows more break, because when you break something you do a lot more damage. And then obviously when you get characters, especially your break DPS, that can get either supports or whatever that can do super break or allow them to super break, it allows for even more damage. But here she allows basically an extra idea to go even further into allowing you to break again, which is also pretty good damage. Also, the talent states that while she is on the field and after weakness broken enemy targets are attacked by allies, this will convert the toughness reduction of this attack into one instance of 100% super break damage. So she's also allowing her teammates to actually, once they break an enemy, she's allowing them to deal super break damage as well, taking their normal damage and then allowing it to super break, very much like what I believe Harmony Trailblazer does for a lot of our DPS characters right now.
And I think that alone is what's making her such a goated support. I mean, I think the skill and the ultimate are very, very good, just because, we already talked about that. They seem very good. The talent here, the only other character up to this point that can allow for really any character to do super break is Harmony Trailblazer. And so when we do get this new character, 5-star Tingyun Fugue, she's just power creeping him basically. Now, I feel weird saying power creep, because it's true, but it's also, I just don't like saying it because it doesn't mean you can't use Harmony Trailblazer. If anything, this just means we can actually start to be using two break teams that are both very well, or pretty well built for endgame content. If you're in MOC, you have both Firefly and you just pulled Rappa, let's just say, you can use one of them on the first half and the other on the second half, and you can just mix match Ranmei with whoever. You can have Fugue with the other, Harmony Trailblaze with the other. You can just start to kind of balance them out, and so that just does allow to have two break teams legitimately for whatever content you're doing. I think that's just pretty cool, because previously with the only supports being Ranmei and Harmony Trailblazer, and even before Linksha was Gallagher, you build the break team with those three characters and use Boot Hill or Firefly. And because you do that, your other team just can't really be an effective break team, because you don't have Ranmei, you don't have Harmony Trailblazer, or characters that can at least substitute for them. But now that we have Linksha, you have two break sustains now. We're going to be getting Fugue, which is just basically another version of Harmony Trailblazer. And really having Linksha and Fugue here, I think is enough to create that second break team.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think most of the time, you're never really ever going to be in an instance, most likely, where you need 2 break teams, but it is a nice alternative to have, and it's something that I didn't know that we would actually be able to fully get for a long time, so it is nice to at least see and know. I do want to actually go over the bonus abilities here, because the idea with Harmony Trailblazer is that he also gives a lot of break effect in his kit, also mainly the Eidolons. So looking at the base kit without constellations, with Fugue or whatever here, she gives 40% break effect to the target ally that she gives Foxy and Prayer to in the skill. So that's 40%. If you look at one of the bonus abilities, when an enemy target's weakness gets broken, it increases all allies' break effect by 15%, and that lasts for 2 turns and can stack up to 2 times, meaning most likely it's very easy to break enemies' weaknesses, especially if there's multiple of them. You're allowing that twice. You're either getting the 40% plus 15, which is 55% break effect for your most likely your main DPS, and then you're adding another 15% on top of that again, if you can, break 2 things at once, which is allowing your break DPS to be at 70% increased break effect, which is actually insane. Now, Harmony Trailblazer, once again, can also do pretty well with this because of, I believe, his E4, but even still, that's really, really good. Her second bonus ability increases her own break effect, and then after using the skill for the first time, you immediately recover a skill point, so it's free to use the skill for the first time in battle, which allows your other DPS characters to use their skills. Characters like Boothill and Firefly love to use their skills to make sure that they're doing a lot of damage, even after using their ultimates. And then the third bonus ability states that after an allied target's break enemy weakness, additionally delay the action of the enemy target by 15%. The great thing about Boothill, I believe, is that when you use his ultimate, you actually delay the action of an enemy, and that's the great thing about that. And then with Ruan Mei, when they get broken, and then they try to come back and it's their turn, they get pushed down in the turn order again. When their turn comes back up, they get pushed down one more time. So with Boothill, you're constantly just like knocking and Boothill and Ruan Mei, you're constantly knocking them down. Ruan Mei does knock it down once, but characters like Firefly or Rappa can't do that. So this could also allow characters like, even further allows Boothill to keep knocking them down the turn order again, allowing him to go more often. But it also allows characters like Firefly and Rappa to actually have a character that can help them just be on par maybe with something that, Boothill can do. So those bonus abilities we don't usually talk about, but they were pretty useful and helpful for me from what I saw. Also, real quickly, we talked about her as a character with her stat bonuses with needing possible more effect hit rate. If you look at her stat bonuses, Rift, she increases break effect and HP, which is good to make sure that she heals. She's staying alive. Also, break effect is good for break characters. But she gets 28% break effect from her traces, or stat bonuses from the traces.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, and I was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, perfect. She's going to have 128%, effect hit rate for that chance to get the defense shred in the skill, which is really already enough. You could min-max if you're wanting to go more than that to get to the 140, but 128 without any substat, really good. So she's already helping herself out with that in the stat bonuses. And then just the other thing, just jumping right back on, talking about the Boothill team, where it's just crazy to think that, he's delaying, I believe, by 15% with his ultimate, Boothill that is. You've got Ruan Mei doing the Thanatoplum Rebloom, so they just get broken again. All right, here's another phase to deal some damage. And then if you add this character in now, also here's some Exo Toughness. So I think it's just going to be absolutely insane for him as well. The amount of just single target damage he already does is just off the charts. And it's just going to get even better. Firefly and Rappa are also just going to love that too. Just more break damage, more super break. It's going to be insane. We already thought break was so amazing. What more does it need? And here they are giving us more. They're just stirring the pot, feeding us with more break characters. It's actually insane.
Yeah, because I already have Firefly and Rappa, I'm extremely excited for this, and it actually makes me want to think about getting Boothill. But we'll see how things go in the future. But I think overall, this is going to make a lot of people happy. Like I said, even though Harmony Trailblazer is absolutely amazing, you don't need this character. It's just going to be a next step. It's once again, if you have Gallagher, you don't need Linksha, but it's just a next step to make the team even better than it already is. Quickly, I just want to talk about her light cone real quick. In the light cone, it increases in the ability, it increases break effect by 60%. And then when an enemy target's weakness gets broken, there's a 100% base chance. There it is again, by the way. So you're going to need 40% for a boss, most of the bosses. There's a 100% base chance to inflict the charring state on it, which increases its break damage taken by 20%, lasting for 2 turns, and can stack twice. Now you might be thinking, okay, hold up. This stacks twice, which means I need to break it twice, which, once again, there comes the idea of that exo toughness. So once you get past that exo toughness bar, which is going to be extremely easy to get through, it's going to now increase your break damage by a total of 40% for 2 turns. Or by that point, maybe another extra turn. So that like second hit that you do with Boot Hill or Firefly or whatever is going to be absolutely insane. So that combined with what she already does, yes, you're going to need a little bit of effect hit rate if you want to make sure you're always hitting bosses. So like 12% to get to the 140.
Like literally 2 substats and you're like right there.
Exactly. That alongside of break effect and probably some HP, and that's kind of it. People might be talking about maybe needing an ER rope. We'll see as she gets closer, but this is right now what she looks like.
The other great thing, just talking about that exo toughness, is it's not another full bar. It's only 50%. So after you break the character, or rather the opponents, you will see that exo toughness bar is really only half. It's already broken in half for you, essentially, and so it's just even less to get through. Almost 1 or just 2 attacks at most is going to be breaking that, so you can do it consecutively, probably.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to bring forward for this character for the team. For break in general, it just allows it, bringing it to another level when it already was kind of at a different level than every other team in the game, or most other teams in the game. Well, that's everything we've got overall looking at this character. If you guys do have any other thoughts, any ideas, obviously this is her just initial kit, so things might and probably will change. This is just version 1. There are going to be things that are going to change. We're going to probably do like normal. We'll talk about the character first, and then we'll probably right before they release, we'll talk about just a, once again, pre-release analysis, a kind of idea. Okay, this is what they're going to look like when they release. How does it change from version 1, like this video? How is it going to look different? So if you guys are interested in that, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Also look forward to joining our Discord if you guys want to as well. We have a lot of fun in there. And thank you guys once again for watching the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.